Hello, my friends, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of our Journeyman Series. We're still with our first club, of course, which is Nice. Of course, for those of you who are just joining us in this save, I do record ahead because of family commitments. I'm not even uploaded Episode 1 yet because I'm still not happy with the thumbnail. I spent about 3 hours today working on it, and I'm still not even close to happy with it. So hopefully tomorrow I can get happy with it and then get uploaded on Monday. Obviously, if you're watching this, it's already done. So this is our Season 2 summer window preview, and we're starting with the staff. Now, I did say I'm going to take my headset off. One, I don't need it on because there's no sound, and two, it's just irritating me. So taking it off. I did say at the end of last season, staff was a big issue. So we've had a clear out. So as you see, I'd already sort of started on that with the essential stuff when we first came in. What I want to do with Nice is leave them in a position where they're comfortably at least challenging for second in Ligue 1. If not, a team that's somewhere between the Lyons and the Marseilles and Paris Saint-Germain, and therefore comfortably second. I don't think they have the resources or anything like that to be the team that we're going to be here and win Ligue 1 with. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. We will see over the next sort of season and a half, or say season and a half, 2 seasons before our contract expires, if we feel that we can win the league here. Obviously, if job opportunities come up, we will certainly look at them. So on the out staff wise, we let all of our youth staff go. We finally got a new assistant manager, so assistant manager away, and I had more youth staff. Not too much changes in terms of first team coaches, mostly because once I started to sort of work around, the board did eventually let me have one more coach, so it's still not perfect, but with the changes, these 2 staff are allowed to work with the first team, and we've actually got an okay setup in the senior ranks just now. I don't want to make too many wholesale changes just yet. So first up, we bring Johann Cardinale in. He's a scout previously of Brescia, of all places. Also had director of football roles at Watford, West Ham and Reading. He was a scout at Brescia before that as well. So 2 spells at Brescia, having just returned there from Reading. We then have a coach also coming from Pescara, Marco Sansovini. Now, anyone that doesn't know me, this guy doesn't look great. Let's be brutally honest, he does not look great. My youth staff, I tend to go by personality. This is something I've been testing a bit more this year, and I feel, certainly looking at the Rangers save, we developed far better using this model than what we have through any of my previous staff for youth models. So you're going to see this, they're not going to look great, but they're going to have good personality. So these 2 coaching staff are all personality of model citizen. The under 18s, under 19s, whichever it is all perfectionist, which means high professionalism, high determination, high work rate, etc. They're the 2 best personalities in the game, the next best being resolute in my opinion. So Marco Sansovini comes in. We've got Bob Bosco Durovsky. He's our new assistant manager. Now, again, there's certain traits I look for in an assistant manager, and it's based on what I look for in an assistant manager. Now, he has knowledge of North Macedonia, Serbia, and then randomly Japan. I assume he's had a spell across there. In fact, that looks like a Japanese team overview. Yeah, I'm going to guess that's Japan. So, yeah, that's why he's got knowledge of Japan. That makes sense. But for me, the most important stat is tactical knowledge. Now, I don't do my own opposition instructions. I've always been open and honest about that. Mostly because I think you just press the same buttons over and over again. And it's a lot of tinkering and learning to do it in a different way, and to do it more personalised. I don't have the time for that. It's something that I do want to learn down the line, but right now, tactical knowledge is a stat for an assistant manager that will do that. And man management, just because who has time for press conferences? It's the same buttons over and over again. I love Football Manager, but press conferences are not fun. So there are 2 stats I look for. Motivating would be next, but tactical knowledge comes above anything else, then man management, then motivating last. And this guy was the best option. I did have a couple of attempts to get him last season, I'm not actually sure what happened because he never once rejected me. I think it was the board blocking me, unfortunately. So he came in. We've got Singila, another model citizen, French coach this time. Brian Kerr, a Scottish coach, former assistant manager of Partick Thistle, couple of manager roles in the lower Scottish leagues as well. He is also a model citizen. We've got Jari Littmanen, former Liverpool player, of course, comes in again as the assistant manager at the 2 team. Got a couple of physios, and then under 19 coaches. As I said, these are all perfectionists. And then, that's kind of it. I do feel like we brought a coach in. Did it go into here? Yes, it did. So there we go. We've got another 2 scout spots that they just brought up. So we've got this lad in as a scout, he's decent, and this lad in as a scout who's also decent at 16 on both counts. Luciano Emilio, not pronounced that correctly, but he's Brazilian. He is a new coach. He was sort of our 1 week area, which was attacking tactical. Did I set him up for that properly? So yeah, this is our coaching assignments. As you see, we're all, there's 1 free star. Unfortunately, I have no more coaching space to address that situation. It's currently being dealt with by Brian Kerr, and Sangila covering off just to keep it down to average. It's the best we can do. It's the best we can do right now. It's not great. As you see, with our staff, we are maximum on just about everything. We could get some, go get some recruitment analysts, new performance analysts, new head of youth development would probably be in order as well. But they're just not available. And I'm trying to save some money for the club as well at the minute so that we can, invest more money in the first team. So how has the transfer window gone? It's gone fairly well, to be honest. This is by far the longest that is any shown here. They are. So we'll start with here. Dante we covered leaving. He left in March. Robson Bamboo is a part exchange sale with a player coming in. I just felt he wasn't good enough, and to be honest, he didn't have a huge amount of potential. So as much as he was probably a decent centre back, when you compare him to the left-sided lad that we had last season, we did also have offers for. I'll go through all that in a minute. I just felt I didn't mind him being part of a deal. So he is a part of a deal for one of the players who came in, who we'll cover in just a second. And the goalkeeper, Johann Cardinale, is also away. We got, how much did we get for him? 1.4 rising to 1.6 million. Not bad for a backup goalkeeper. He was decent as a backup goalkeeper, but at 27 he was going to show no progression, or very little progression. Obviously goalkeepers do kick on later in life, but I feel an FM doesn't replicate that particularly brilliant. So he could have got better, he might not have. Aerial reach is always a big problem for me at 10. We've replaced him for a similar fee. Not quite, again, set stats that I would necessarily look for, but a very, very good young goalkeeper who we'll cover when we go through the in. So the in at this stage before it's updated, and this is part of the Rodson and Bamboo deal, is a 5 million rising to 9.5 million with Robson Bamboo going the other way as well. Is Sofani, I'm not sure you pronounce it, Buffal, former Southampton player, of course, for those that don't know him. And this is kind of where I want to start now. I felt last season the wings were a problem. We had Dahlberg out there at times, who did a job. We had Ronnie Lopez, who was on loan. We had Guri. Now, Guri, I looked at his stats, I felt he was better up top. And other things were going to affect that as well. So I wanted to maybe, test that, bring in tremendous depth in the wings as well. And I also wanted to tap into the French market, particularly the teams lower down in the French league than us, tap into some of the players that they have who could come to Nice, do a very good job. Maybe we make a bit of profit on them, maybe we only get 1 or 2 years out of them, whatever. Buffal was one of those that ticked that kind of box, that covered all those things. So he's on a 32 grand a week, expected to be a regular starter. That could be a bit of a problem because we've got lots of other deals that we can go through as well. Some of them do cover his position. So then we go in here, we're going with the outs. So we're starting with the big one, Casper Dahlberg, away to Tottenham, £31 million for the 23-year-old Danish international. I'm fairly content with this. We could have pushed for 40-50 if we really wanted to keep him, but I wasn't that fussed for keeping him. You see it here, 60 games, 23 goals. It's not prolific now, is it? Now, obviously, played a fair bit on the wings for us. I still don't see him even being a 1 and 2 striker. I'll be honest, when he hit that run at the end of the season last season, was obviously great for our form. I just felt, we could, for 31 million, we could probably get a better striker. You see at the start of the same, Edward went for 15 million, probably at least an equal striker. So for me, it was just such a no-brainer. And I'm using Edward as an example, by the way, who is probably on a par with Kasper Dolberg. We've got this lad who is a young Cameroonian goalkeeper. We got an offer for him, and I just decided to take it. We've got sell-on clauses here and stuff as well. He's played 33 times for the B team. My fans weren't happy about this, but I never seen him making the step up. I will be brutally honest. We've got a few free sort of aways, so we're not going to cover too much of. Sacco, another young lad, 24. He's not going to improve. Let's just get rid. We've got some add-ons and stuff at 625,000. We've got Zuri, this young lad as well, a right back. There's no way that he could have fit in my system. I'll be brutally honest. He's not attacking enough as a full-back. He's got no jumping reach to go into a centre-back. He's got no vision to go into a deep line playmaker role. He's got no stats for a box-to-box role. There's just no way that I could have ever fit him into my system. 20-year-old, he's 39 recommended. What's his potential? 3 stars. So again, just cashing in is fair. And Doi, another young lad who had just felt, one, didn't fit my system, 2, we had better options, and I didn't see him developing enough. As you see, 57 scouted recommendation. We've got 800,000 plus sell-ons for him. A couple of loans out, including Insoki and Turam, who played for us a few times last season, as well as Claude Maurice, who you'll remember played on the wings for us a few times last season. My cat's going absolutely bonkers in the background. You just seen her running across the camera because I caught that in the right hand side of my eye. I apologise, guys. Please bear with her. You would think 15 or whatever she is, she would start to calm down. But nope. Mahu is away for just under £1 million. Another young lad, winger, who, again, 65 recommendation. This guy did have a bit of potential at 3.5 star, but I don't see him making the first team. Reece Colley is away now. He was going to be our backup left back, but I targeted this as a weak area in the team. I felt we could probably upgrade on Kamara. I felt that we could improve drastically on Colley as a backup. He's not terrible. I'm not saying this guy is bad. He's a decent fullback. He's just not. He's not the guy that's going to take us to challenging for second, in my opinion. He could probably have played at centre back and done a decent job, but again, jumping reach at only 11 would have been an issue there, in my opinion. So I felt just let's get rid. We didn't get quite as much money as I wanted for him. We didn't even get a sell on, but Huseka were the only club making a bid, and I decided just to cash in. Danilo is away to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now, I didn't really want to sell Danilo, I'll be brutally honest. He was one of the players that I wanted to keep a hold of. They made an initial bid, and I counter-offered it, and then he was unhappy. At that point, I decided, we can invest this money in getting a better player in the door right now. So that's what I did. We let Danilo go. We got, how much for him? 12 million, rising at 17.75. I feel like our midfielder is stronger without him. As crazy as that might sound, he was one of our better players there last season. I feel like we've improved. We've got this lad away on loan, Actor Passeerman. He's away for 110k, rising at 300k. Another young lad that I just didn't see developing enough. And then 2 more loans, including one that came in, who we'll cover in a second. So our second in. And I really wanted to target the teams that finished at the bottom or got relegated. So not just avoid relegation through the playoffs, but one player who I'm a big fan of is Moses Simon. Now, he's cost us 8 million, a rise into 11 million. If they went down, he would have cost us about half that. See, he's already worth 16.25 million. 2 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. The only thing that I don't like about it is the contract he demanded to be played as an inverted winger. Fine, whatever, I'll make it work. I've never used an inverted winger, really. I tend to prefer the inside forward, so we'll see how he runs. But what I liked about him is that blistering pace. He can cover both sides, if he lets me. Similar to Buffal, both can cover both sides. He's got decent finishing for a winger, decent composure, blistering pace, as I said, good dribbling. He's brave. He's good at passing. Reasonable work rate, brilliant off the ball, very good flair. For me, for a team that finished in the playoffs, the relegation playoffs last season, He was too good for that. So I decided to make my move early. It took several negotiations with Nantes. I tried to unsettle him and he just wasn't interested. Because he stayed up, he was not getting unsettled. There is players that, there's one in particular for Lorient, who did go down, who I tried to unsettle, did unsettle, and I still can't get him. It's frustrating. I just want so much money for him. They're wanting like £15-20 million for a player that's worth £2 million in the second tier of France and is unhappy. It's quite ridiculous. Batista Mendy was a free transfer, a pre-contract deal. I like the look of this kid. He's worth 1.3 million. He's a deep line playmaker. He's a big upgrade on, say, Thuram, for example. In my opinion, 4.5 star potential. So again, a big upgrade in terms of the potential. With game time, this lad could kick off. Already played one with a 6.5 rating, which isn't brilliant, but that one was against PSG. I didn't cover the PSG game because I'd already decided I would wait until the European qualifiers to record before the fixture list was done, as I tend to do because it allows us to just get into the season faster. So a 6.5 against PSG is not a bad result at all. We've got Samuel Major, who is now gone out on loan to Cannes. I signed him on a pre-contract and I signed him in January. And the more and more I look at him, I think, what was I thinking? He's got decent potential, 4.5 star. But let's be honest, is he ever going to hit that potential? And even if he does, these stats have to go up a lot to be trouble on our first team. He's a Hungarian international, so let's see how he develops. It could be a moment of genius, but he's came in from Salzburg. We've got Oscar Aranda. He comes in on a free transfer from Real Madrid. Now he is, for me, an inside forward on the left. Just look at his stats. So that's where we're training him. But you can see similar sort of stats. He's a young Moses Simon, essentially. So this guy could go far. He's playing in this 2 team at the minute, but he could definitely come up. We've got a lot of players in this position that have came back from loan, been promoted from the youth team, but I'd already made this deal. I felt this was such a no-brainer of a signing, so let's see how he gets on. We've then got a replacement for the goalkeeper. So like for like replacement, he's cost us 1.3 rising to 1.8, so maybe potentially slightly more than what we sold the other lad for, but he's a like for like. I would say probably an upgrade. Probably could go into the team straight off the bat. The aerial reach, as I've mentioned already, is something that I look for in a goalkeeper, and he doesn't necessarily have that. But I have seen how this guy can develop in Football Manager. We've all seen how this guy can develop in Football Manager. I've seen other goalkeepers come up and be like 5 star, but the reason why they're 5 stars is because they've got a 20 and it's an extrinsic. I don't like that. I'd rather have a 1 in that. I'd have, a 3-star goalkeeper. So this guy for me is fairly solid. He's going to be a very, very good backup. Now, he did want an important player contract, so I'm going to try and just, make him love me through playing him in every cup game possible. Doesn't have a strong opinion on his playing time, so, that's fine. We then brought in Paulo Gozzi. He is a free transfer from Juventus, a left-footed centre-back, a position I again targeted as a big, big issue area. He's got 4-star potential, but more importantly, he's got decent jumping reach, okay physicals, tackling's decent, marking's okay, positioning's a bit weak, concentration's a bit weak, stuff like that will need to be worked on, so he's definitely not the completed article, but he can come and develop. Got a 6.4 in his only game so far, but decent start. We've got Giorgio Scalvini, who again was a pre-signing. My scouts recommended him from Atlanta very, very early on in sort of our managerial run here. It's about mid-February, end of February sort of time that it was recommended. I then made the few moves to get him. Eventually we agreed on a fee, which was 1.2 rising to 8.75. So, there's a lot of add-ons here. But that's fine, if this guy triggers these add-ons, he's going to be a good defender. He's 17 years old and already probably our second best centre-back. Now, given that centre-back's a problem for us, that's not surprising. We've had to spend 8 million to bring a guy that's better than this in. So, we're going to cover him in a minute. But it just highlights the problem that we've had. Centre-backs are just non-existent. I'm still trying to find a left-footed one to bring in. But then brought in Harry Wilson on a loan fee. He's cost us £1 million on loan. He's worth 18. and we have a deal to sign him for 7.75 should we wish to. Now, 2 reasons why I've done that. One, he's on 20 grand a week for us, which is great. We'd have got him on free if we paid him 40 grand a week, by the way, but I didn't do the maths. I suspect it's probably about break even. I just prefer to do it this way. We could have bought him for the 7.75 outright, but I'd have wanted 60 grand a week. Now, I don't do the maths on that, but I would say 40 times 52 is more than £1 million. In fact, I'd almost certain on it, so let's do the maths right now. In fact, I can't be bothered to do it in my head, so 40 times 52 is £2 million. So by doing this, we have saved £1 million. We're actually slightly cheaper paying that fee as well, according to that math, just off the top of my head. We brought Filippo Rochia. He is a free transfer, currently came from Juventus. Now, I was looking at this guy for a while, and I kept going, he's got blanks in the system that I don't like. And eventually the agent approached me and went, we want to sign for you. And I went, right, we'll come on trial, let's have a look at your potential and stuff. It's got 4-star potential. And I went, right, we can maybe make you work. Let's bring you in, not going to cost a huge amount in wages. Maybe you develop, maybe you don't. It's not a huge risk, on that kind of wage. Then we finally got our centre back. I said it was 6 million rising to 7.5. It's Sergio Gomez from Sevilla. He's 29. He's not a typical Don signing, let's be honest. But look at his stats. He's got okay jump and reach. Again, I like to have jump and reach a bit higher. But he's got good tackling, very good positioning, decent concentration, decent decision, decent anticipation, all that sort of stuff. He's not slow. He works hard-ish at 14. So, he's a solid defender that can come in, do a job, already worth double what we paid. In fact, we got him a bit of a steal. It wasn't transfer listed. They just wanted less money according to my scouts, so win for us. We needed centre-backs. We did target that as a big problem area. We could have had the option to bring in Tadibo and Saliba back on loan. In fact, we did have that option multiple times. And I just felt last season they weren't that solid a partnership. So I wanted to either bring in my own guys or some loan guys. The loans just have been non-existent. Getting loans has been the biggest pain in my backside, because there's so many positions that I would have gone, right, let's have a loan to buy, let's have a loan to see how he does, let's have a loan for backup, and they just don't exist. So we've got literally 2 loans in. You've seen one, the loan to buy in Harry Wilson. But he'll be decent. Here's our second loan, Mitchell Bakker. Now he's a left back, and I'm going to be honest with you, he was my third choice and my third attempted left back buy. So the first one was a £3.1 million deal for the left back. He chose another club. Even went and renegotiated a contract with that club. That's how interested he was in coming to us. He was really good as well. He would have taken the first team slot, hands down. The second choice was transfer listed, and this is where the problem came in. I put in a lot for loan to buy, similar to what we'd done with Harry Wilson, and another team just went and went outright, we're going to buy. I was trying to be cheeky and save a chunk of money because it was only on £3 grand a week. So I was trying to save, let's pay the 3,000. We'll have the 3.1 million. I think again it was 3.1 to 3.5 sort of £1 million buy fee. We'll pay that at the end of it. And I put it as optional in case it didn't work out, because there were stats that I really liked. Like, he had long shots at 17, which on a left back, that appealed to me for some reason. He had very good stats in other areas, decent crossing, very good tackle and whatnot. But he chose the immediate move, which is fair enough. If I had gone for the immediate move, I think we would have got him. So then Mitchell Bakker was our third choice, and he's decent. He is also a loan to buy, so he's worth £3.5 million. We have a deal to buy him for £3 million. We're paying him 21 grand a week. Now again, some of that's down to wages. He wanted a wage rise to come. Not a problem, understandable. You're not going to get winners' medals here as easy as you are at PSG, but you're going to get more game time. But having that loan deal to buy at 3.5 million seals our safety in. If his value, he has a good season and his value goes up, we're getting him for £3.5 million. And then this was the point when Danilo left, and at that point I tried to get Tonali a few times. In fact, we could have got him a lot cheaper. So I'm going to cover first. I went for this lad, Jordy Quintilla. He's 27-year-old Spanish midfielder who was playing at St Gallen in Switzerland. He is a solid all-round player. Very good free kick taking, which is an area that we lack. We've now obviously got Harry Wilson who can do that to an extent as well. But he does obviously cover all our midfield positions. He's decent at box to box. Maybe could improve slightly at finishing. But he's got decent long shots, which might offset that. He's got decent composure and technique. So hopefully the finishing wouldn't be too much of an issue for him. So you can cover, still suffering with a cold by the way, so excuse me for sniffling. And he can play in the deep line playmaker role, more than capable as well. He's got decent tackling, decent vision, good teamwork, good passing, all that sort of stuff. So I was fairly content to bring this guy in. So he's cost us 3 million, rising to 3.6, which I think is a steal for a player of this kind of quality. 27, he's not going to improve at all, really. And then we eventually did get Sandro Tonali. The frustrating thing with Sandro Tonali is I had a deal with Brescia in place before his Milan loan ended. It was 7 million rising to 12 million. What a steal that had been. But at that point I was locked on 50 grand a week, which he was not willing to accept. As you see, he's on 62 grand a week. So he's our most paid player by a long, long way, which isn't ideal, but this guy just breathes quality, First touch, passing, technique, tackling. It's just a ridiculously good work rate, decent teamwork, very good vision. And he's getting better. He's 21, Italian international, and he's only going to get better. So even at paying 20 million with all the add-ons triggered, which, 25 million, so it's 19 million plus some of that's in instalments. So I think it was 12 million up front, the rest in instalments. So we paid the money literally that we got for Danilo up front. The rest is instalments and then, add-ons. I just felt this was a no-brainer. And then my scouts came up to me and they were like, Esposito's available. And I'm like, wait, what? Everyone knows Esposito. Now, I have never used him in a Football Manager save. So I jumped at this chance. I know we've got Arezzo, we've got Guri, who I'm trying out up front. I'm going to show you how that's going in just a second, by the way, or at least next episode. Probably when we go through the schedule. In fact, no, we'll do this episode, we'll go through the schedule. So the next episode is just literally the 2 Europa League conference playoff things. Qualifier, whatever you want to call it. So we'll show that in the next episode. But we've literally just got him. So he's arrived 18th of August. We're on the 19th. So both Tonali and Esposito have arrived, which means only Tonali is registered for the Europa Conference because you're only allowed one change in the squad at all. You had to put in your first squad a couple of weeks ago. We're only allowed one change. So he's already had a bit of a kick-off, which as you see here. He's literally arrived. Literally the next continue after he arrived and the deal was confirmed was the Europa League thing. So he had a kick-off within about 5 minutes of being in the door. But I was also registering Tonali. But this guy could be something very, very special, as we all know. I'm looking to loan out Arezzo now. He's kicked off about that as well. Great, 2 unhappy strikers to, test Esposito out and Guri. But I think striker-wise, we are sorted for years to come. Our oldest striker is, 20 at most. So, while our whole time at Nice, we should not need to buy a striker unless we sell probably 2 of these guys. Which is a brilliant headache to have. Finances-wise, we still have 8 million in the transfer budget. Now, next season's guaranteed budget is 9 million. Now, a lot of that's already pretty much spent. We are about there or thereabouts in the wage budget now. I have adjusted that. I took some of the Dolberg money and moved it into wages so that we could, try and get some more players in of higher quality. We've got a very large squad because I've promoted a lot of players. So the squad currently looks like this. So, that's a lot of scroll down. But a lot of these lads are young lads who are going to be in the fringe of the team, may get some loans. So this guy, he's probably going to go out on loan. As long as he's playing on that right hand side where I think he could really kick on and develop, he'll be great. Maizan has a bid for him. We've got a few. Olsen, who was coming in to be a player, is now nowhere near the first team at 21, so we're probably going to have to loan him out again. Gessland being promoted, looks decent. I thought he'd be a third choice striker. Probably still will be with Arezzo now. He's kicked off and decided he doesn't want to be loaned, but I've accepted these 3 offers in the hope that he accepts one. If he doesn't, I can't push. I'm not going to push it any further because I'm not risking upsetting him. You've got this guy, Lucas Dacuna. Again, I'm retraining him to play out on the right. There's a few other guys that we're doing that with that, clearly stat-wise are not good in one position but could be in another. So Danilo is a great example of this. He's never going to fit in my system as a wing-back, but as a deep-line playmaker or a sort of backup box to a ball-playing defender, he could come in and do a job. Heading is obviously a big issue for that area, and for this one, composure probably a big issue. But at 20 he can develop them, and he's going to be second, third choice. The only other major issue we've had is Morgan Schneiderlin. Now I've tried to sell this guy so many times. I have spoke to him, he's kicked off. I've spoke to him again, he's kicked off. He's kicked off again. I've spoke to him. We've had bids. We've had more bids. We've had more bids. I've agreed compensation packages. I've agreed bigger compensation, to the point that I am agreeing compensation packages to 50% of his sell fee, and he's still turning these offers down. It is the most frustrating situation in the world, and he's never going to play. He's literally never going to play. So if he keeps kicking off, he's just going into the B team. It will literally be that simple, and I will take the loss hit because I'm already being prepared to take that loss hit. Eventually teams will stop trying to buy him, so there is interest in him still, as you see from Montpellier and Seattle, but they're both loans. They're not wanting to pay his wages. I'm not loaning him out if they're not wanting to pay at least a decent chunk of his wages, because the whole point of selling him is to get him off the wage bill. And they're not wanting to pay a fee either, so that's that. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I will be back tomorrow with... Say tomorrow, I don't know what day this will go out. So it'll be tomorrow or Monday, because we're doing Monday to Friday episode at the minute, with the Europa League playoff game. It's against this team, who I've never heard of. They are in the Austrian Premier League, Rheindorf Aldach. I probably should add more leagues to this, as much as we're only managing the top 5. I loaded Scotland up by accident. It makes sense to have other leagues in, just for transfer market balance. My computer's more than handling it. Anyway guys, that ends this episode. Smash the like button if you enjoyed it. Smash subscribe again if you're enjoying it. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Check out the Discord, and the Twitch links for them will be down below. I hope to catch you all next time.